We are entering a brand new and exciting era of the NHL where we have young players like Lane Hudson, Macklin Celebrini, and of course Connor Bedard starting to light up the NHL. The promise from those NHL commercials of a new golden era isn't just hyperbole, and it's already here. But the big question on everybody's mind is, who are the best young stars in the NHL right now? A lot of YouTubers have endeavored to answer this question, as well as TSN and The Athletic, and now I'm going to throw my hat into the ring. Here are the 30 best players in the NHL who are aged 23 or younger, and we're going to start with a few honorable mentions who just missed the cut. Those would include Chicago Blackhawks forward Frank Nazar, Rangers forward Will Cooley, Kraken forward Shane Wright, and finally Sabres defenseman and former #1 overall pick Owen Power. The 30th best player under the age of 23, in my opinion, is Predators forward Luke Evangelista. With 4 goals and 23 points in 31 games this season, Evangelista is far from an offensive dynamo, but he is one of the better defensive forwards in the game. According to Hockey Stat Cards, he is in the 95th percentile of all forwards when it comes to defensive rating, and with 2 30-point seasons already under his belt at ages 21 and 22, he projects to be a very solid middle 6 forward for the Predators for years to come. At number 29 on the list, I have Detroit Red Wings defenseman Simon Edvinsson. After a bit of a rough start to the season, Edvinsson has ramped things up considerably, with very good defensive metrics according to Hockey Stat Cards, as well as 4 goals and 10 points so far this year. However, last year, his first full season at age 21 was a very good one, as he put up 7 goals and 31 points and had all the makings of a future top 4 defenseman. So while his bad performance to start the year lowers him on the list, I still think that he has a bright future on the Red Wings blue line based on how he played last year. At spot number 28, we have Montreal Canadiens forward Ivan Demidov, and I know it'll be controversial having him so low on this list, given how much hype he had coming into the NHL. But keep in mind that he's only played in 34 regular season NHL games, and while he's been very impressive in those 34 games, putting up 8 goals and 27 points, I need to see it over a larger sample size before I'm willing to commit to him as one of the best young players in the NHL. But if he continues playing at this level for an entire season, when I make this list again next year, he is going to be much higher. Another controversial one, at number 27, I have Flyers forward Matvei Michkov, and I know that he has had a very rough start to this season. Only 8 goals and 17 points this season, far below his rookie pace, already clashing with another head coach. But you gotta remember, the guy put up 63 points in his first season, and that was with some, let's just say, not copacetic coaching for his style of play. I still think of the right system, Michkov could thrive, and what he did in his first year can't be discounted just because he's starting slow in year 2. At number 26, I have Blue Jackets forward Adam Fantilli, and he was going to be a lot lower before he had this mini surge that he is currently on. But he's doing really well this season, 11 goals and 21 points so far, and last year he's coming off of a 31-goal season. And so while all of that doesn't completely wash away his very subpar rookie year, it's enough to put him firmly in the top 30 for the most promising young players in the league. Moving on to number 26 on the list, we have San Jose Sharks forward William Eklund. A guy who now at age 23 is coming off a 58-point season last year and has started this season pretty well with 8 goals and 21 points so far this year. But it's his defensive ability that is really standing out to me. And if you pair that kind of defensive play with a guy who can put up 50 and 60 points a year, the Sharks will happily take that in their top 6. At number 24 on this list, we have former #1 overall pick and Montreal Canadiens forward Juraj Slafkovsky. It's no secret that I have never been Slafkovsky's biggest fan, and that really goes back to his terrible rookie year. But since then, he has managed to play himself out of the comparisons to Nail Yakupov, coming off of 2 straight seasons with at least 40 points. And while he's not having the strongest offensive start to this season with only 9 goals and 20 points, he has been one of the best defensive forwards in the entire NHL. At number 23 on the list, we have Chicago Blackhawks defenseman Sam Rinzel, and I know that the numbers, especially the advanced analytics, are really nothing to write home about, and he does have a very limited sample size of only 37 NHL games. But last year, he put up 5 points in 9 games while logging over 23 minutes a night as a rookie. And so although the sample size is definitely limited, I have high hopes for Sam Rinzel, especially this year as he's proven to be a pretty solid offensive defenseman. At slot number 22, we have another former #1 overall pick and a former Calder Trophy winner in Seattle Kraken forward Matty Beniers. And it's been a rough downturn for Beniers after winning that Calder Trophy. As a 20-year-old, he's only eclipsed 40 points since then one time. And so far this year, it's looking like more of the same: 4 goals and 17 points in 30 games so far. He's very, very solid defensively. And I think he's a guy still trying to find his game. He has proven that he can be a 55 to 60 point player as a rookie. And Seattle's been kind of a mess, so once he figures everything out, I think he's still going to be a legitimate top 6 forward. Up in slot number 21, we have Carolina Hurricanes forward Logan Stankoven, obviously one of the big pieces in that second Mikko Rantanen trade from last year. And I know that there are some big Stankoven truthers out there. I am not one of them. His career high in points is 38 as a 21-year-old, and it seems like he was trying to find his game early, but recently he's gone ice cold. Still a very good contributor at both ends of the ice for a 22-year-old, and now in a new organization who can hopefully unlock his full potential with more ice time than he was getting in Dallas. Now we're into the top 20, and we have Olen Zellweger, the defenseman from the Anaheim Ducks, in this spot. A really good 22-year-old defenseman who already has 5 goals and 14 points on the season, and is in the top 10% of all defensemen in offensive metrics. This is one of those guys, along with Lacombe, who's going to be one of those building blocks on the blue line in Anaheim. At slot number 19 now, we have another San Jose Sharks forward in Will Smith. And even though he doesn't get the attention that his line mate and buddy Celebrini does, Will Smith's been an incredibly impressive player for his first 2 years in the league. Last year, he had 45 points, and he started this year incredibly hot, almost a point-a-game player with 29 points in 33 games. And while it's probably going to be Celebrini's team in the future, every Batman needs a Robin, and Will Smith is shaping up to be maybe an elite Robin. At slot number 18, a guy I thought would be much higher, but has had a really rough start to this season in Minnesota Wild defenseman Brock Faber. His last couple of years in the NHL, he was a borderline elite top pairing defenseman. This year, it's been a little bit more of a struggle for Faber. It does look like he's starting to turn the corner, but his high ranking here is really based on what he did in 23 and 24. At slot number 17, we have another Carolina Hurricane and one of the best young two-way forwards in the entire NHL in Jackson Blake. Last year, he had 17 goals and 34 points in limited ice time, which was very impressive. This year, already 8 goals and 19 points, and he is still maintaining those solid defensive numbers. I think Blake is going to grow into one of the best middle 6 forwards in the NHL in a few years' time. At number 16, we have another player who I'm not quite as high on as some others, LA Kings forward Quinton Byfield. And look, he has continued to improve since his rough first few years in the league. He settled into being a 50 to 60 point player, and this year in particular, he's been very good defensively. He's an incredibly streaky player. When he's on, there's very few players in the NHL who can stop him, but when he's off, it can be pretty rough. But Quinton Byfield is still one of the best bright young players in the NHL. At slot number 15, we have Luke Hughes, defenseman from the New Jersey Devils, who is maybe not going to reach the unfathomable heights of his brother Quinn, but is certainly on a trajectory to be an elite defenseman himself. And I know he hasn't looked great so far this year, but he is coming off of 2 straight seasons with at least 40 points. He's on track to become one of the better offensive defensemen in the NHL at only age 22, and on a Devils blue line that is full of talented young players. Moving on to number 14 on my list, I have the first Maple Leaf in Matthew Knies. And the case for Knies is pretty simple. He has one 58-point season last year, and this year he has gotten off to an incredibly good start offensively. 18 points in 33 games for the young 22-year-old forward. And while he'll never be confused with a defensive stud, he's been an incredibly good offensive contributor for a Maple Leafs team that, quite frankly, this year has been faltering a lot. At number 13, a guy whose name will make every single person in Philadelphia shudder in anger, it's Cutter Gauthier of the Anaheim Ducks. And while he probably could have made this list based off his production last year, 44 points in a full season, this year he's been on another level. 36 goals and 18 points, putting him near the top of the NHL in both categories. Gauthier is in the 98th percentile of offensive production among all forwards, and if he was even slightly competent defensively, honestly, he would be even higher on this list. Now at the number 12 slot, we have Utah Mammoth forward Logan Cooley, who started his NHL career hot with 2 very good seasons of 44 and 65 points respectively, at least 20 goals both seasons, and this year been just as strong a start, 23 points in 29 games, including 14 goals, going to be a probably consistent 30 goal scorer for the next decade or so. At number 11, we have a young defenseman who never gets brought up in these conversations and really should be. LA Kings defenseman Brandt Clarke has maybe been the LA Kings' best defenseman this year with Drew Doughty out. He doesn't put up gaudy offensive numbers. He did have 33 points last year, but defensively, he is a lockdown monster. According to Hockey Stat Cards, he is in the 94th percentile of those metrics. So while he doesn't get the attention of the Hudsons and the Schaefers, Clarke is a guy who you need to keep in mind when you're talking about the best young defenseman in the NHL. And speaking of Matthew Schaefer, the young Islanders defenseman clocks in at number 10 on my list. And look, I know you're all upset about this. The way that Matthew Schaefer's played this year has been unbelievable. And if you could guarantee me he plays at this level for the rest of the season, I would put him in my top 3, no problem. I just need to see it consistently for at least a year before I'm willing to anoint him as one of the 3 to 5 best young players in the NHL. Again, if he continues playing at this level, we're going to have an entirely different conversation. We're going to have the conversation we had last year with Lane Hudson, where we're talking about this guy being a perennial Norris Trophy candidate. But right now, it's only been 33 games. A very impressive 33 games, but still a limited number of games for him. But I need to see more out of Schaefer before I put him higher. At number 9, we have another young Utah Mammoth sniper in Dylan Guenther. And while Guenther didn't have quite as hot a start offensively as his teammate Logan Cooley did, defensively he's been much more serviceable. He is one of the best all-around young forwards on offense and defense. Now, number 8 on my list, we have another elite young defenseman in Ottawa's Jake Sanderson, and he has been great this year, posting up 7 goals and 26 points along with elite defensive metrics. Following a season when he had almost 60 points, this is a guy who is one of the best young puck-moving defensemen in the entire NHL. The 7th guy on my list is another player who never gets brought up as among the elite young forwards in the NHL, and it's probably because people don't think of him as that young. It's Carolina Hurricanes forward Seth Jarvis, who at 23 years old is coming off of back-to-back 30-goal, 67-point seasons. He's having another strong season in 2025 with 18 goals and 26 points through 32 games so far, while also putting up very solid defensive metrics. Now, number 6 on the list, we have 22-year-old Dallas Stars forward Wyatt Johnston, who is one of the most productive players on this list in terms of what he has done already. 2 seasons of at least 60 points. Last year, he had 71 points, and this season, 39 points in 34 games, including 17 goals. Johnston's already proven that he's a legitimate top 6 forward, and he's probably got a ceiling of a top line forward, which is why he's one of those players in the NHL. If you were asking me to start a team now, I would want him as a building block. We move on now to the top 5, and in that 5th place spot, I have the superstar from the Chicago Blackhawks, Connor Bedard. I know that most people will say he should be top 3 easily, but we can't ignore the fact that Connor Bedard's first 2 seasons in the NHL were not as strong as we would have expected from a player with his draft pedigree. 2 seasons with less than 70 points and less than 30 goals, not what you would expect from a player labeled generational coming into the league, but this year he has definitely earned that billing. 44 points in 31 games, he is looking like one of the best players in the NHL. And if we were going just off of this season, I would 100% agree with putting him in top 3. But I can't ignore 2 seasons worth of production. He needs to continue to sustain it if he wants to be much higher in these rankings. At number 4 on the list, we have Anaheim Ducks center Leo Carlsson, and it might seem strange to have him higher than Bedard given that he hasn't produced near to the level of Bedard in terms of goals or points, but he is at least a better defensive player than Bedard and is having at least as good a season this year as Connor is. The fact that he's pacing Bedard this year in terms of points, 41 in 33 games, over the generational Bedard. Now at number 3 on the list, we have the reigning Rookie of the Year in Lane Hudson, and he produced at an elite level in his rookie season with 6 goals and 66 points on the way to the Calder Trophy. And after a little bit of a slow start, he's found his pace again, 5 goals and 28 points in 32 games this year. But his defensive play has sort of regressed over the course of this year. And while his offensive play is certainly enough to justify him putting in the top 3 in my opinion, this is a guy who I think is going to be a Norris Trophy contender for the next decade. It's not enough to put him in the top 2. Now at number 2, a guy who, like Seth Jarvis, we are always forgetting is still so young. That's Detroit Red Wings forward Lucas Raymond. And this is a guy whose past production is the best of anybody on this list. He's never scored below 40 points in a season, and he's coming off of back-to-back 70-point seasons, hitting 80 last year. And this season, once again, he's a point-a-game player, 34 points in 31 games to start the season. But the fact that he is so good defensively is what puts him over the top over guys like Bedard and Carlson. As you can see, per hockey stats, his defensive metrics are in the 97th percentile among forwards. Him being this good and still being so young at only 23 years old is setting him up to be this generation's next great two-way forward. And that just leaves one player left on our list, and process of elimination, you should have figured it out. It's Sharks forward Macklin Celebrini. Coming off an impressive rookie season where he put up 63 points in 70 games, he has had a massive surge in year 2, 47 points in 33 games. Unlike Bedard, he only has 1 year of kind of substandard productivity, and he also didn't come into the NHL with the generational label on him. And this year, quite frankly, he has been better than Bedard, not only offensively, but also in his own end. He is a franchise cornerstone for the San Jose Sharks on a team that has a lot of, as I mentioned, very good prospects. And I think that he is not just the best on that team, but in the entire NHL.